morning, all of you. Very excited to be here. And today I will be sharing what it looks like making AI real for enterprises. And this is based on some of our implementations EPAM has done across various customers. Let's look at this. In the last 3-4 years, we have been talking about Gen AI, and a lot of technology evolutions have happened. In 2025, I think AI is ready for the enterprise. As enterprises are ready for AI, at least some enterprises, not everybody. But for sure, technology is definitely ready, and all of you are working on some of those technologies. And let's see how this statement is really true and how far we achieved in that journey, right? So let's talk about a little bit about EPAM has conducted. So EPAM has conducted a global survey and across good 7K plus participants. And one of the things which came across is that close to 50% of the enterprises saying they are mature and they are different and they are embracing the technology. A good 5% suggesting that they are the the technology disruptors, in the sense that they are implementing cutting edge and AI products which impact the P&L of the enterprises. Having said that, Gartner, most of the analysts like IDC and the Forrester also suggest there is a great potential for Gen AI, and despite having a potential of Gen AI potential, there are common problems persist, which includes the strategy, capacity, foundations, and trust in AI. But if you really see it, business will say, yeah, we have a business strategy, but nobody is fully confirming they have a AI strategy. Similarly, the business comes up with a lot of ideas, but those ideas needs to be validated to an extent. Is it a real use case or a noise use case? How do we take it forward? That's the capacity challenges we are having today. Similarly, the foundation. It's very interesting, right? Data quality is good, but at the same time, nobody is fully convinced their data quality is good at enterprise. And good data is very important for implementing the AI and Gen AI use cases. Similarly, trust. Of course, a lot of trust exists today as we move on to the 2025, but at the same time, enterprises really need to explain as to what Gen AI can do, cannot do, is another aspect of the trust which we need to look at it. Now, I just wanted to talk about enterprise AI initiatives are not just about Gen AI. There is a clear difference between language dependent versus asset incentives. Wherever you see language is playing a primary role, Gen AI adoption is very high. And you could see that things like education, things like government and healthcare, life sciences, you see a lot of Gen AI use cases being implemented and adopted at enterprises. But there are non-Gen AI use cases which traditionally utilities, manufacturing and insurance and retail, traditional ML and deep learning is very prevalent in the industry, right? But the good thing is that enterprises are adapting both Gen AI and AI together, which is a good thing for enterprise AI adoption. In the same context, what is that enterprises are thinking today? Everybody wanted to have the maturity, AI maturity within the enterprise. AI maturity depends on how far you implemented AI, Gen AI use cases across front office, back office, as well as building the new products and services. But there are two ways to look at it. One is everyday AI use cases, and other hand is building a new product and services. When I say new product and services, these are all transforming the business, hence creating the new opportunities for your top line or a bottom line, which eventually affecting the P&L of the enterprise. That kind of a solutions also is quite interestingly, enterprises are adopting it. With that context, just wanted to give a perspective about what is some of the enterprises really today adopting to as an enterprise scale AI. There are two fundamental things. One is AI native SDLC, which is essentially employee experience, which is providing the productivity and the better ways of providing the tools. The other aspect is the ADLC, which is analytical data lifecycle, right? Which is essentially building the enterprise data platforms, which very important for building the new production services as well as the process optimization. I will talk about a little bit about AI native SDLC and ADLC and AI factory. At the end, whether you wanted to build a process optimization or you wanted to build a new product and services, you have to have a good AI factory. Lack of a better word, AI factory encompasses of how do you implement it, which includes your AI strategy, which includes your governance, which includes your privacy, which includes your LLMs and the FinApps. Unless you have a great deal of an ecosystem which comes together in the form of an implementation ecosystem, AI implementation at enterprise scale will be very complex, which you really don't see as a successful when you look into that, right? Hence, the 21% of the enterprises today are really, implemented at scale, not everybody, right? With that, let me talk about what I mean by the AI, native AI SDLC, right? It is like revolutionizing the product development. I mean, some of you might be, aware that, most of the people are working in one of the AI consulting companies. If you see, people supply chain management is very important aspects. There are a lot of associates building a projects. There are associates comes onto a bench. They were looking for a projects. It's a cycle is a very complex thing. What happens if you build a AI native solution to optimize this entire process? Like before someone coming onto the bench, an AI agent can go and then create a next possible options, creating a scheduling meetings, suggesting that what kind of trainings they need to go through, which positions they can be optimized. These are all great processes to look at it. Not just that, you have a HR processes, you have a procurement processes. All of them can be achieved using the AI native SDLC. But if you see this, a lot of integrations happens. You can build a lot of agents and you can have a workflows and which can be integrated. I have not mentioned any specific tool per se. This is a very common thing in most of the enterprises, and some of the enterprises are building all of them together as an entity to be able to use it across the various innovations of the enterprise. But of course, many of the product companies also supporting this kind of an integration. And let me talk about a little bit about ADLC. We have been building data platforms for almost more than 2 decades. We have seen transformations from building the enterprise data warehouses to the MPPs to the cloud modernization. We have modernized a lot of technology, but at the same time, it is complex and it has always been questionable in terms of what value it is really generating it. Can GenAI play an important role on those enterprise platforms today to be able to make a value and generate the outcomes which is required? Hence, GenAI is bringing onto a shift of the change. One is in the AI adoption, and then the second is growing pressure of the value it generates, and then finally, the maturity of the LLM tools and the options what we have, the integrations what we have. It is becoming very, very important aspect of it. I just wanted to show a little bit quickly about the future of data engineering. If you closely look at it, it is all about agents. I have an agent for BA, I have an agent for ETL, I have an agent for deployment, I have an agent for the requirement gathering. All of them can be integrated together today, right? And the technology is available. It doesn't matter whether you are working on any of the hyperscalers or a Databricks or a Snowflake. The options to look at it and improve to implement some of the scenarios are excellent, right? Now let me also talk about little bit about the initial analysis of based on many of the implementations what we have seen is quite interesting. By using the agents, by using some of these the technologies, quite substantially you will see across the life cycle of a data ecosystem, right from the requirement gathering to all the way till BI. You see a tremendous amount of effort and timelines to improve the scenarios, right? Now with that, I quickly touch upon the Databricks assistants, MS Copilot, Gemini, and the Snowflake Cortex, right? At the end, all of them are maturing it. Year ago, we have not seen a great deal of success. Today, enterprises are adopting these tools to use within their building of the data engineering and analytical systems. Hence, it doesn't matter today whether you are on a AWS or Azure or a GCP or a Databricks or a Snowflake, you have a great deal of options to explore to optimize employee experience, productivity, and the value to the business. So with that, we spoke about AI native, we spoke about ADLC, and the next comes is the AI factory. AI factory, in my view, is that you would have seen all these buzzwords, strategy definition to foundation capabilities to the responsible AI. My intent is not to explain all of them, but the intent is that if you were to implement enterprise scale AI platform, all of them are one way or other needs to be implemented. It's not about you just building a co-pilot and then you call it yourself as implemented AI solution. That's not what the intent is. Intent is that you need to follow a specific pattern with starting with the strategy to building the foundational capabilities to having a scaled AI factory and subsequently to the impact which it can generate it, right? Now, busy slide, all it talks about is demystifying the AI factory in the sense that how an operating model looks like, how the technology looks like, and how all of them can come together to be able to look at as an enterprise scale AI factory. With that, I also wanted to suggest that what we have seen it, if you are implementing an SAP system or a Salesforce system or a machine learning model or building a data warehouse, your team structure and technology will be very limited to your area, very limited to your division. But when you are looking into the enterprise AI at scale, you will be touching everything within the enterprise. It doesn't matter whether you are from a data and AI team or whether you are from a procurement team or a supply chain team. It doesn't matter. All of them will need to be come together to be able to have an enterprise scale AI, the team, right? Finally, what I wanted to also conclude is that all the implementations, what we have seen is that nothing is easy. You need at least minimum 2 to 3 years to be able to nurture the kind of AI implementations at an enterprise scale. You require a good 3 years. With that, I just wanted to give a quick example of one of the customers, how they've really implemented it, and see this multi-year journey so far. They started in 23 and still going strong. At least you have a great deal of a plan in implementing it. Some of the business use cases and then how you track it, what value it is generating onto the the P&L of the company, and look at some of the use cases. You see quite a bit of computer vision to the optimization, to the forecasting, to the responsible AI, to the some of the natural language processing. And you could see that, quite a bit of, impact. It is already generated and they've seen it. With that, earlier also I spoke about little bit about, it's like, if you were to implement AI at an enterprise scale, it's like, you need to move the needle across various departments. And this specific slide talks about how change management is touching every aspect of it, right? Not just because setting up AI organization or, foundation platforms or data platforms, you also need to work with the business to be able to implement the change management. And then finally, I can't quote the dollar value here, credible dollar value, but it is very substantial to the P&L. Any AI implementation adding a substantial value to dollar value to your P&L is a great success for an enterprise to achieve. And enterprises are looking forward for such kind of an implementations. And it is all about implement, innovate, and invent, right? Innovate is all about, transforming the critical functions of the business processes. It includes HR process, it includes your procurement, which includes your people supply chain, right? Invent is building the new revenue generated product and services, which is very critical for some of the CPG, retail, especially the customer-oriented segmented companies. But the bottom line is the backbone is data foundations, platforms, risk management, ops model, very, very important. And then finally, I want to conclude in saying enterprise AI landscape is constant evolution. And if investments in AI technology is one side of it, the other side is your maturity depends on the amount of investment you do in the governance and in the data quality and in terms of portfolio and then the value. And EPAM believes that these are all the 5 pillars for any enterprise scale AI implementations to be successful, and 20% of the customers are going through this journey and very successful in implementing it.